Even a moment's association with a pure devotee can give all perfection. Actually, no one is qualified for diksha. Knowledge of your Siddha Deha, which is called Ekadash Bhav, the 11 indications of your spiritual form. And I live in Rādhā-kuṇḍa, which is the highest spiritual energy center of the world, of the universe. And many people ask is, what should I think about while I'm chanting japa? Most prominent gift that I've received is that now I know who I am.
Hare Krishna. We are deeply honored today to welcome a spiritual personality whose life journey is as unique as it is inspiring. His Holiness Dauji Dayal Das. From secular communalism of a kibbutz in Israel to the profound spiritual depth of Rādhā-kuṇḍa. Prabhu's life is a testament of divine grace, unwavering dedication, and the transformative power of Gaudia Vaishnavism. Having met Srila Prabhupada directly in 1973 and dedicated over 35 years to intense devotional service, including embracing sannyasa and becoming a prolific writer and bhajana practitioner, he offers a rare perspective on the spiritual path. And today we have the immense privilege of sitting with His Holiness to delve into this extraordinary journey, precious insights from his vast experience, and understand the profound realizations that have shaped his path. Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Radhadesh, welcome. Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to have you all here.
Thank you so much. I would like to ask you first question about your background. As I know, you were born and raised in the unique communal environment called kibbutz in Israel during the war, and your upbringing was quite different from traditional spiritual upbringing, right? So, how do you reflect on your childhood and your early memories, and how it impacted on your choice, and how it prepared you for the eventual immersion in bhakti in London?
Well, actually, the kibbutz was a socialist commune, and we knew the Marxist manifesto of Engels by heart, and we were demonstrating on the 1st of May in town with red flags. So we were agnostic, anti-religious, and there was no spirituality. So it wasn't a preparation. Actually, the samskars of my kibbutz upbringing are not very favorable for bhakti or for spiritual life. However, we had a very warm upbringing and very disciplined, very Spartan, because Israel is struggling for survival against many enemies. And so we were brought up to be like good soldiers. And so we became like resourceful, self-reliant, independent.
Very disciplined.
And very disciplined. And also, on the downside, we were emotionally numb. There wasn't like a warm family, affectionate family environment, because we grew up in communal childcare, which is very different from most people. Bhakti is about bhav, which means emotion, feelings. So in that way, this upbringing was like totally opposite to what bhakti is. And I only came to bhakti because of sadhu sangha, of association. Otherwise, it's a miracle that I'm in bhakti.
Okay. You called yourself mercy case, right?
Yes, I'm a mercy case, because somehow Super Soul directed me to go to London, and then I met Srila Prabhupada, and because I met Srila Prabhupada, I'm sitting here today, and I'm a devotee here in Radha-kuṇḍa. If I hadn't met Srila Prabhupada, I don't know if I would be a devotee today.
Yeah, you heard Mahamantra from him directly, and could you please bring us to that atmosphere? What was it like to listen to Mahamantra from Srila Prabhupada, from such a pure devotee, and what was the immediate and lasting impact of hearing the holy name from him?
Well, you know, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Sadhu Sangha, Sava Shastra Koi, Lava Mantra Sadhu Sangha, Sava Siddhi Hoy. That even a moment's association with a pure devotee can give all perfection. Maybe not immediately, it's a process, but it starts the process. So I was going on a double-decker back from work at 5 o'clock, and two girls started talking to me and said, we're going to see an Indian Swami and we don't know anyone there, so would you like to come with us? So this is the 70s in London, very wild time. And I said, yeah, why not? So we went there, and it was in Conway Hall in Holborn, and Prabhupada was speaking, and we, the few karmis at the back, standing at the back or sitting at the back, the whole wall was full of devotees. So then Prabhupada had this habit of saying the Maha Mantra 4 or 5 times during his katha. He was speaking Kapila Dev katha from the 3rd canto. So then I heard the Maha Mantra directly from his lips, and I didn't understand what he was talking about because his English was strange. I didn't know anything about the philosophy of bhakti. But the thing is, I did stay until the end. And then at the end, everyone was bowing down. All the devotees bowing down, Jai Prabhupada. And of course, we, the few karmis at the back, we didn't bow down. And I was thinking in my mind, you know, I don't even believe in God. Why would I bow down to a man? That was what was going on through my mind. And Prabhupada could see us because everyone was down on the floor. And in my mind, Prabhupada was saying, you just wait, mister, and one day you'll also realize that it's a good idea to bow down. So that's how I met him. Then we went home, and I completely forgot about it. And it was only 15 years later or so, when I started associating with devotees again, that I went to a Vaishnava Higher Institute seminar in Radhadesh in Belgium, and suddenly I had all these devotee association, hundreds of devotees, sannyasis, and then it flashed back to my mind.
Oh, 15 years.
15 years later, that I actually met Prabhupada and had a Maha Mantra for me. So I take the foot dust of Srila Prabhupada on my head. We in the traditional lines don't accept everything that Prabhupada said, but I don't like it when people criticize Prabhupada the person, because he was very kind. We are all indebted to him for being here. So, as I said, you know, I'm totally respectful to Srila Prabhupada. I think it's a great personality, and I don't like it when he gets criticized.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want to focus on this kind of particular thing that when the seed is sown, it can take 15 years or even a lifetime until it's like growing, right? Like in your case, it took 15 years, then you continued like with...
Yes, I could say it only took 15 years, because in some cases it may take few lifetimes.
Right.
But that meeting is crucial. Meeting a pure devotee, a sadhu, is crucial. And what's few lifetimes in eternity? So, you know, I met Srila Prabhupada, and it all started from there. And then that was 1973, and then in 86, I went to Israel. I was going also back to Israel, family and friends, and I met the devotees on the street. And they invited me to a feast. And when I actually went to a feast, I like it immediately. I like the energy, I like the chanting, I like the Gita class, and above all, I like the prasad, especially the halwa.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were poor students in London, coming from the kibbutz. We had no money, so we worked part-time, studied part-time, and literally we subsisted on peanut butter sandwiches. You know, it was really, we had no money at all. But once a week, we went to the Hare Krishna's first place in London. It's the Berry Place near the British Museum. At the basement, we had a feast. And then, we ate like kings, and especially mountains of halva. So you could say the Srila Prabhupada brought me to Krishna consciousness, or you could say I came to Krishna consciousness because of the halva.
Okay, yeah, I heard similar stories so many times that prasad, actually in my case also, prasad played a very crucial role.
Yeah, Prabhupada had the right idea. Just give them the holy name, give them prasad. Everything else will come for that. I'm a living example of that. So that's why I'm saying I'm a mercy case. Because my background, there's nothing in my background except perhaps previous lifetime samskars,
Right.
which I don't know about, to indicate a possibility of being a devotee. So it's sadhu sangha, yeah.
You have associated with and got guidance from extraordinary area of elevated Vaishnavas from different Gaudia lineages like ISKCON, Gaudia Math, Nityananda pariwar, Gadadhara pariwar. So what have been the unifying threads, or let's say like core teachings that combine all together, like that you were taken?
Yeah, it's very good question, because what you usually hear is people put emphasis on the differences between the different Gaudiya Vaishnava lines, and but actually there's a lot in common. First of all, we're all in Gora Parivar. We're all following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we accept him as Krishna with the mood and color of Radharani. And we accept that Krishna in Vraj is the supreme form of Krishna, of Bhagavan. This is not necessarily accepted by other Vaishnava Sampradayas. So that all the lines, ISKCON, Gaudiya Math, traditional lines, Nityananda line, Gadadhara line, Advaita line, we all accept it. So we all have this thing in common. We all accept its basics, and then there's some philosophical differences. There's some differences in the practice, some differences in the diksha mantras, but we can elaborate on the differences later. But basic thing to remember is that devotees in other Gaudiya Vaishnava lines are not our enemies; they are allies. The friends are allies, and they're actually family members. Because the thing is, it's very rare for someone to come to bhakti. Actually, very rare. I mean, the bhakti movement in the West is like marginalized. There's not many devotees in the world. So it's very rare for someone to become a devotee, and it's even more rare for someone to stick with bhakti, and to actually, make the life successful in bhakti. So we should appreciate anyone who's chanting the holy name. So, I'd like to focus on, we should be aware of the differences and maintain our identity, maintain our loyalty to our particular line and our identity. At the same time, we should be aware, we should be affectionate and cordial with other devotees, even if we disagree with them about the philosophy. This is my view.
Yeah, it's very, very important, because we know that aparadas are very serious thing that can be an obstacle in our spiritual life.
Yeah, aparad is the biggest problem. When we're not making progress in bhakti, and we're not getting taste in chanting because of criticism, because we criticize. And conditioned souls, it's natural for conditioned souls like us to criticize, almost unavoidable. But this is something we should be avoided, should always keep in mind. Am I criticizing? So we don't want to criticize anybody.
Yeah, particularly on the basis of us and them,
Yeah.
our people, not our people, right?
Then it become us and them,
Yeah.
and you know what Prahlad Maharaj said? He was surprised when his teacher tried to teach him politics, that there's friends and enemies. He was surprised that the world is divided into friends and enemies. So our bhakti philosophy is that everyone is a spirit soul, and everyone has Krishna in a form of super soul in their heart, even the demons. So we should remember this, because Krishna is Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Krishna is everywhere and everything. And even the Gita says, for one who sees me everywhere and for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he lost to me. So this is our teaching, this is our philosophy. We should see Krishna everywhere, especially in another person, especially in another devotee, and have that perspective and overlook the differences.
Yeah.
Otherwise, envy, there's plenty of envy in the material world, in material relationships. We want, as Prabhupada said, envy-free society.
Right.
Society is not just ISKCON, society is a society, the whole Gaudia Vaishnava society. Yes.
Could you please elaborate on this complex yet beautiful topic of Guru-tattva? Like, could you please share your understanding on how a devotee can take shelter and receive guidance from various saintly personalities and at the same time nurture this deep and intimate relationship with the initiating Guru?
Yeah, Guru-tattva is pretty complicated and not so easy to understand. Actually, our relationship with Krishna is measured by our relationship with Guru, and the backbone of bhakti is Guru Nishta, to have unwavering, fixed faith in the Guru, like this. And Shastra warns to have loyalty to Guru and to not leave Guru. However, Bhakti Sandarbha also says that if someone is not satisfied with one's Guru, one should look for another Guru. So in most cases, usually, it's you have one diksha Guru, and with his blessings and permission, you take shiksha from someone else in order to make progress in bhakti.
So should it be always discussed with the initiating Guru about the shiksha Gurus?
If the Guru is favorable and he wants his disciple to make progress, and he thinks that this taking shiksha from someone else would be favorable, then okay. But if the Guru objects and says, you don't need to hear from anyone else, and trying to block it, then there's a problem. So it shouldn't be that we only stick with one particular sangha, because what's crucial in bhakti is one's relationship with the Guru, not one's relationship with the sangha. The sangha is serving the relationship between disciple and Guru, not the other way around. When Narayana Maharaj was about to depart from this world, the sannyasi group met with him twice, and we asked him, what should we do now? And he said twice, very clearly, you should seek sadhu sangha in or outside the sangha. In or outside the sangha. And in my particular case, I had an ISKCON guru, but I still felt much closer to Prabhupada than to who was my guru in ISKCON. And then when I met Srila Narayana Maharaj, I took shelter of Srila Narayana Maharaj, and I took diksha and Harinam from him. And he was a revolutionary, because he introduced the topic of Manjari Bhav and Radha dasyam to the Gaudia mat. He opened the door to Raganuga Bhakti, līlā-smaraṇa, siddha-praṇālī. So this was his mercy upon me. And then when he left the world, I knew what he wanted. I knew what he said. I knew his heart's desires. Manobishtam is that we make it in bhakti and engage in Raganuga Bhakti, because that was his whole thing. And I was looking for shelter. So then I spent maybe 3 years off and on with Sadhu Maharaj of Munga Mandir, and he kindled my interest in the Lila Granthas like Vilap Kusumanjali, Radha Rasudanidhi, Kali Cavalry, Bhavanasa Sangra, which is a fabulous book of pastime, if we want to remember the past times. But then after some time, after 10 years with Prem Gopal Goswami, I felt dissatisfied because Prem Gopal Goswami gave me siddha-praṇālī, and which means we all have a Siddha Deha, a perfected spiritual body in the spiritual world, in spiritual Vraj. And our goal is to serve Radha and Krishna in Vraj. So we need knowledge of that Siddha Deha. Now, some conception is that this knowledge is inherent and manifest, but our conception in the Gaudia, in traditional lines, is that it has to be given by Guru and Krishna. There's Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Brahmanda Brahmite Konya Bhagavan Jiv, Guru Krishna Prasada Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Translation is that after wandering for many lifetimes, in many universes, one fortunate jiva, 1 in a million, Pai, that means gets, receives the Bhakti Lata Bij, which means Bhakti, which means Harinam, Diksha, and perhaps siddha-praṇālī, from Guru and Krishna. So even this very simple shloka says receives. It doesn't say realize or it manifests by one's own sadhana. So in my case, I actually took Diksha a few times in my journey. And this is unusual. It's not usually the case. Best scenario is to take Diksha from one Guru, and if you feel the need, with the Guru's permission, take Shiksha from other Gurus who have the same mood as your Diksha Guru. But we see in reality that this is not always the case. In my case, even with Prem Gopal Goswami, with a great Vaishnava, a respected Guru, Nityananda Vamsha, it's mean the bloodline of Nityananda, I felt dissatisfied. I wasn't making any progress in my bhajan. So then I moved on and I took shelter of Srila Satyanarayana Das Babaji, and now he is the most prominent Guru in my life.
Yeah, I would like to back to that part of your life in 2007 that you received sannyasa as Bhaktivedanta Giri Maharaja, and I would like to know what was the inner calling or realization that led you to embrace this order.
Actually, when Brajanath, who was Narayana Maharaj assistant, secretary, told me that that was in Guru Purnim 2007, that Narayana Maharaj will give me sannyas, I was surprised. I didn't expect it, and I didn't think that I'm qualified for sannyas. So I talked to, I had very mixed feelings. I mean, my ahankar, my ego, my pride was like, sannyas, wow, not many people get sannyas from Narayana Maharaj. It's a very exclusive club, But the other side, I was shaken because I knew I'm not ready for sannyas. I knew I don't have that sannyas mentality. I knew I don't have the depth of bhakti required for that. So I was really torn between the two things. And I talked to Narayana Maharaj, and I said to him, Gurudev, please don't give me sannyas. I don't feel comfortable with this. He said, this is just your false humility. I know in your heart you're very happy to receive sannyas. So he was a very powerful spiritual personality, and if a very powerful spiritual personality gives you mercy, it's better to accept it, even if you don't feel ready, even if you have doubts, it's better to accept it. Actually, no one is qualified for Diksha. But if the Guru says he'll give you Diksha, one should accept.
Exactly. Yeah.
No one is ready for Harinam, no one is qualified for Diksha, but if it happens, then one should accept. Why? Because what's the loss?
Right.
The seed is planted. The same thing with sannyas, because sannyasi position also comes with some empowerment to maintain celibacy, to maintain renunciation. So some mercy is there, and it's not easy. So I was actually, my mind was reeling. You know, I was going to get sannyas, and I got sannyas, but I wasn't sure at all. It was not. It wasn't straightforward that I'm going to be sannyas. It wasn't like this at all. So then I was sannyasi of Narayana Maharaj for 5 years, and he empowered us definitely. I was traveling all over the globe. Went to Europe, America, Southeast Asia, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia, Russia. I went to Moscow, Ufa, Perem. Very nice devotees. I love the Russian devotees. The Russian devotees is great. They're such big heart. I even went to China 7 times, which is illegal. But we went under the guise, we said we are yoga teachers. I went with tilak and everything. And they said, what is this? Because the tilak is on a passport photo. I said, we're yoga teachers. Yoga is okay. So we gave classes in big yoga studios, and we get 60 people to chant Hare Krishna, and we teach them the Swami dance. Prabhupada dance. And they're all chanting happily, and no one objects. Nice. So it was very unusual time. It's one of the best 5 years of my life. It was very intense and very exciting. But I was struggling with the question of celibacy. I had a real struggle, and because I've been in the club, I know that many others were also struggling with it, and we see in ISKCON that so many gurus, sannyasis had this problem, struggled with it, had a fall down like this. So when Narayana Maharaj left the world, I actually felt that my service to him as sannyasi is finished, and I no longer wanted this position. And then I met my last wife, and that was the perfect excuse. I sent letters to people in the Sangha, like Shyamarani, who's a personal friend of mine, and I told them that this is what happened, and this is my decision. I'm making a conscious decision to leave sannyas. And of course, I got criticized. Say that if you leave sannyas, you're shantasi. But actually, Shastra says that sannyas, one should not accept sannyas in Kali Yuga. Yeah. The sannyas is forbidden in Kali Yuga. And we can understand why Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta were inspired to give sannyas, because sannyas is respected by people and it helps the preaching. So for the sake of preaching, you're given sannyas, and we cannot doubt that they were also inspired by Krishna or by Radharani to do what they have done, and Prabhupada have done it very successfully. He spread Krishna consciousness all over the globe, every home, every street corner. The Hare Krishna is a household name. So he had to do it with the help of preachers, so he's given sannyas. So it's not wrong of him to have done this. However, we should also remember the Shastra. And the Shastra actually says, it's one shloka of Sampurana, it's in my Shlokamritam, my shloka book. It says very clearly that 5 things are forbidden, and one of them is sannyas. So I've had mixed feelings about the position of sannyas, and I was struggling with the issue of celibacy in my position as sannyas. It was more difficult when I was in sannyas in saffron dress. It was less difficult when I wasn't. So my solution was simple, just give up sannyas and be honest with myself, and I got married again. I was my last wife, we were together for 5 years. She was very nice, she became a devotee. So that's some of my thoughts about sannyas. I'm fully respectful to those of my colleagues of in my sangha who remained in the sannyas position. I'm not criticizing them, But for me, I want to go further. I want to get siddha-praṇālī. I wanted to do bhajan, līlā-smaraṇa, and I knew I cannot get this in Narayana Sangha because Narayana showed us the door but didn't give us the key, didn't give us siddha-praṇālī. So therefore I took shelter of Prem Gopal Goswami, and he gave me what I wanted. And then after I got siddha-praṇālī, I realized this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And now the real struggle begins, to do bhajan and to meditate, to do līlā-smaraṇa, to meditate on the pastimes while taking harinam, while doing japa. So that is a lifelong struggle. It's not that when you get siddha-praṇālī and the Guru gives you your knowledge of your Siddha Deha, which is called Ekadash Bhav, the 11 indications of your spiritual form, which is your name, your seva, your dress, your color of skin, your residence, your mood. This knowledge is required in order to do līlā-smaraṇa. The reason is because if you want to meditate that you're massaging Shrimati Radharani is a worshipable deity, you cannot do it in this material body. It doesn't matter male or female, you cannot do it. You have to do it, you can only do it in your Guru-given, mentally conceived spiritual body, which is called Siddha Deha or Svarup. And in our Gaudia line, in our Gaudia Vaishnava line, we say that we are Manjari gopis, for the most part, like this. So Narayana has told us, you should realize your Svarup, Manjari Svarup, in this lifetime. So I follow his, I have never rejected him, even though I took diksha somewhere else. I've not rejected him. I've never criticized him. And I try to follow what he has given me. So this is Sanyas, siddha-praṇālī, līlā-smaraṇa, all wrapped into one answer.
Thank you so much for this sharing. Yeah, I would like to speak a little bit about your life at Rādhā-kuṇḍa. As you, for many years, you've been performing seva at the banks of Rādhā-kuṇḍa, and like Rādhā-kuṇḍa is described as the holiest place for all Vaishnavas. And
yeah.
At 77 years young, you've been...
I'll be 78 in 10 days.
Wow, okay.
1st of January.
Yeah, exactly. Especially at this age, you've been maintaining rigorous spiritual sadhana, which starts at 3 a.m. So could you please walk us through the typical day at Rādhā-kuṇḍa? Like more specifically, share the inner experience. What fuels you to maintain this discipline and dedication?
So first of all, I want to take the humble position and say that even externally, I seem to be doing the right thing. I'm single. I've given up most of my family and attachments, and I live in Rādhā-kuṇḍa, which is the highest spiritual energy center of the world, of the universe, and the highest pastime place of Radha and Krishna. Still, I have to confess that compared to realized souls, I have zero realizations. I know the philosophy, I can give Harikatha. Compared to the majority of ordinary devotees, I'm very knowledgeable, and I have edited, written, and published 24 books on bhakti. The Katha of Narayana Maharaj, the Katha of Prem Gopal Goswami, of Sadhu Maharaj, of Satyanarayana Das Babaji. But despite everything, I have to say, I don't have a very deep realizations. To be humble, I'd say I have zero realizations. However, we should try our best. Our best understanding under proper guidance of a proper guru in a proper line, in a proper, we would say, diksha line. And then the result is up to Krishna. He may give mercy or not give mercy, that's not up to us. But we have to try. So I'm trying my best, and yes, my sadhana was my strongest side. I take rest early. If I take rest by 8, I can get up at, I wake up at 3 o'clock. I don't use an alarm clock, I just wake up, I know it's time to get up. If I take rest later, like 9 or 10, maybe I'll get up at 4 o'clock. Then it takes me about 1 hour to get my head together, serve the body, take a shower, put on tilak, do my anek, which is another word for the diksha mantras. And I usually go to Mangalatik, which starts at 5 o'clock here at Radha Gopinath Mandir, Raghunath Das Goswami. Then it lasts for about 15 minutes, then it moves on to Radha Govinda, and moves on to Jagannath Mandir, then it moves on to Radha Damodar, then the Radha Vinod. So in this way we do short Mangalatiks in temples around Rādhā-kuṇḍa and go the whole Rādhā-kuṇḍa Parikrama. Now in the winter I stopped going because it's the cold and the cold floor is heavy on my aging body. So now I just sit and do bhajan, which means I chant the Maha Mantra, and I try to connect with the deity of the mantra, which is Radha and Krishna, and to think of the pastimes at that time. That time is called Nishanta Lila, the pastime at the end of night. So these pastimes are not secret, they're available in all the Lila Granthas, especially in the Gutika and in books that are mentioned, like Bhavanasa Sangraha, and many other books published by other devotees. So first of all, if you want to do meditation in the pastime, first of all you have to become familiar with the pastime. You have to know what the pastimes are, who is in the pastimes, what are the personalities, what are the moods, what is your relationship with them. So this is all there. So first of all, you have to either hear the pastimes or read about the pastimes, and then whatever you remember, you meditate on. Because one question that many people ask is, what should I think about while I'm chanting japa, while we say taking Harinam? Because we take Harinam. So you have to think about something. The mind cannot be empty. So some people say, just focus on the name, on the sound of the name. That's okay. This is one way. Some people say, this and that. But really in Raganuga Bhakti, the main limb of Raganuga Bhakti is smaran, which means līlā-smaraṇa, which means meditating on not only on the name, on the rupa, on the form of Radha and Krishna, on the guna, the qualities, and on the pastimes. So there's a gradual process, and it may take a lifetime. In special cases of people that had high qualification by previous life samskars, they get very deep very quickly. But for most devotees who are trying to practice Raganuga Bhakti, speaking for myself, I have siddha-praṇālī, I have knowledge of my Siddha Deha, I know the name of my Manjari Svarup, but this is not the end of the road. This is just the beginning, and then you have to practice līlā-smaraṇa, you have to practice bhajan, and just pray that one day you'll get spurti or vispurti, which means seeing Radha Krishna in your heart, which may happen sometimes. And after that, pray for direct darshan. But that's very advanced stage. I don't claim to be there. I'm not a very advanced devotee. Maybe from the point of view of some devotees I am, but I'm not a very advanced devotee. I'm struggling with many issues. I still have a taste for Maya. I like to watch the news because it's good to know what's going on. We are not completely isolated and detached from what's going on around us, but one has to be very strict not to spend too much time, because whatever we see creates an impression on the mind. And that impression stays there. It may not be conscious, but all the impressions are stored in the chitta, which means the subconscious, also the heart. And these are all material impressions. They may be interesting, they may be fun to watch, it may be my relaxation time, but impressions, and then they're not material, they're not spiritual impressions. So we try to shift the balance and have more spiritual impressions imprinted on our consciousness and in our chitta, in our subconsciousness, get spiritual samskars and less material samskars. So I'm not completely free from this tendency. I call it, I call it what it is. I still have interest in attraction. It's a form of Maya. It's not a particularly bad form of Maya. It doesn't cause harm to anyone. But yes, if you're serious about bhakti, one should minimize the time one spends on social media. Social media is a disaster. It's a disease. But, however, social media can also be used favorably to propagate spiritual subject matters, like this interview, like Radhika Das' podcast, and like many sannyasis. Manidi Madan Gopal has a channel on Facebook. I don't do Facebook. It's a battleground for ego wars. So I don't like Facebook, but it can be used spiritually. So there's also a good thing about the media, and it's really up to every individual how we use it and how we navigate this problem.
Yeah, as I know, you are a prolific writer, editor, and compiler of the Vedic literature, like Vaishnava literature. Specifically, your work, which is called The Art of Spiritual Love. Could you please speak a little bit in depth of this and share what readers can gain from this piece of art, The Art of Spiritual Love?
Here are a couple of books that I published recently. One is The Art of Spiritual Love. Is actually my autobiography, but I didn't speak much about my personal life. I gave a background because it's interesting to know where you come from. But at least a third of the book, the later part of the book in this new edition, is all dedicated to Raganuga Bhakti and līlā-smaraṇa and discussion of this topic, because this is my main interest. I met many gurus and many spiritual personalities, and I've been around and I've seen it all. And in an ideal world, spiritual sanghas should be envy-free, and there shouldn't be politics. But the reality is that we're conditioned souls. So even when we come to spiritual life, we bring our material samskars with us. And I've seen a lot of the downside or the dark side of sanghas, where there's been politics and envy and enmity. In my autobiography, I didn't want to completely ignore it, that these things exist. So I talk a little bit about it, but I tried not to criticize people personally. I tried to criticize
the phenomena,
what they say. I try to criticize their philosophy. And this is one point that Prabhupada was expert at. He talked to so many, spiritual people from other traditions, Christianity and Mayavadis. But if you noticed, he never criticized the person. He followed proper Vaishnava etiquette, being respectful. He only got them and challenged them on their philosophy. So I try to do that. I hope I'm successful, because once again, we don't want to criticize. Criticism is a disease, and it's a major obstacle in bhakti. So then another book I just published is called, very good title, Love Beyond Love. This is a series of lectures given by Satyananda's Babaji. 15 years ago in France in 2010, and it deals with the issue of what is love, which means what is the difference between material love and spiritual love. Spiritual love basically means to direct your love towards Radha and Krishna and Gauranga, Nityananda, and all their associates. And material love is the loving relationship that we experience in this world. So it's not that love does not exist in the material world, the emotion is the same. But the love that we have for others in this world is a product of Maya. This is very hard to hear and very hard to accept. But what it means that we do have love, like the love of the mother for her children, and the love that between family members, but that love is not pure. Pure love, pure bhakti, is only possible in our relationship with generally Krishna, Radha and Krishna. What was the question?
Yeah, like about the book. We are discussing the book.
The books. Yeah. Okay.
That's
so now producing a book is very hard work. Nowadays you can transcribe with the help of AI, but for quite a few years I was transcribing manually, which is a lot of work, very time consuming, mind frazzling, then editing, then laying out, and gradually I learned how to publish books. So I published my books on Amazon. You could see the link in the description of the video. And first I published the Shlokamritam for Srila Narayana Maharaj, 2006. That was my first book. Then I published a few more books for him. Then I published a couple of books for Sadhu Maharaj from Munga Mandir. And then I published no less than 16 books of the kata of Prem Gopal Goswami, very good kata. And now I'm publishing books for Satyananda Das Babaji. I published about 3 books of his kata.
That is impressive work. Like
yes, it seems to be my obsession or my calling in life. And I joke about myself is because I cannot really do bhajan properly. My bhajan is editing books on Harikatha. So by editing the books, when you read what they say, when you hear what they say, and you read what you say again and again, and edit it, then things sink in, and it creates spiritual impressions. So this is also part of my bhajan in a way.
Very nice passion.
Yeah.
So you have dedicated 35 years of your life to Gaudiya Vaishnavism, to practice of bhakti, and you met Srila Prabhupada personally and many these very holy personalities. And I would like to ask you to give some piece of advice, some precious words to 3 categories of people. First is the beginning devotees who embark on the spiritual journey, like few words for them, and then to some others.
For people who are aspiring devotees who just come new, I would just say stick with the devotees, and by that association you will get bhakti. And if you have the chance to stick with sadhus, with people who are more spiritual advanced, gurus, take that opportunity and just chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Because everything is in the name. Of course, when we say everything in the name, it is true in principle, it is true in theory, and it's true for pure devotees, but we see that people are chanting for many years and still they have no taste.
Yeah, so like the second category are seasoned devotees who face some obstacles and who are willing to deepen their practice. What would you suggest to them?
Well, try to get advanced association from people who have lobha, which means sacred greed, intense desire in the heart, to follow, to have Vraj Bhav. Vraj Bhav means to have the mood, the bhakti mood, of the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna in Vraj. They're called ragatmika. So those who aspire for the moods of the ragatmika bhaktis, for raga bhakti, they're called Raganuga. Anu means following the raga. So try and get the association of those who have lobha, greed for Raganuga Bhakti. Yes, if you want to have bhav, you have to associate with someone who has bhav. If you want to have lobha, you have to associate with someone who has lobha. Association is the crucial thing. We cannot get bhakti just by our own efforts. We get bhakti, it says, bhaktya, sanjataya bhaktya. So bhakti comes for bhakti, which means that bhakti comes from someone who has bhakti. So all aspects of bhakti, if you just want to improve your chanting, if you want to get diksha, if you want to attain our goal is really bhav. Prema is the perfection, but bhav is our goal. It's sadhana bhakti, our goal is bhav. If you want to get bhav, try and associate with someone who has bhav. Like this. That's what I've tried to do. And
how to overcome the obstacles. But it was the answer, right? But maybe.
Anarthas will dissipate naturally. Don't have to make a special effort to get rid or to clear anarthas. It will happen naturally if one continues to chant regularly and do seva regularly and hear Harikatha regularly. We have to hear Harikatha. And of course, Kirtan. Kirtan is the life and soul of Bhakti. But by hearing Harikatha, the Bhakti mood comes into our heart. So hearing Harikatha is essential. And we should look for places or for personalities who can give the Harikatha that attracts us. If we want to get knowledge about the Siddha Deha, then we have to associate with those who have Siddha Deha and know something about it, and maybe have realized it. No one who's realized it would share their realizations. They would not share the confidential knowledge of their name and what they see, but something will rub on, like this. Bhagavatam says, Kripa, Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. I think it's in the 11th or 12th canto. So you give prema to those who are more advanced than you. For them I cannot give advice. But you show prema towards those who are more towards love and affection to those who are more advanced than you. Maitri means friendship. You make friendship with those who are on equal level. Kripa, you give kripa to the innocent, to those who are less senior than you, who know less, who are new in bhakti. That's the whole basis of the preaching movement. And upeksha means you avoid and ignore anyone who is hostile and envious. If someone is hostile and envious, you say, Haribol, thank you very much, and you just go away. Don't argue and don't fight. Nothing can be gained by arguing and fighting. Unfortunately, we see too much of this on social media. No. Humble devotees respect everyone, and they ignore those who are argumentative and envious. Just ignore them. Go away. This is what Shastra says. What have I taken? What is the one thing I've taken from my experience in Bhakti? The next question.
Reflecting on your entire journey, from kibbutz in Israel to the banks of Rādhā-kuṇḍa, what is the greatest blessing or realization, let's say, that Bhakti or Radharani bestowed upon you?
Okay, so this is generally, there's one thing everyone agrees on, whether they're spiritual or not spiritual. All living beings want to be happy and avoid suffering. Dogs, mosquitoes, cockroaches, human beings, devotees, non-devotees, everyone agrees that whatever we do not for money, we do to be happy and to avoid suffering. And now, one cannot be happy without love. Even there's one line in some Puranas, I don't remember it by heart, says, if love it's in the conversation between Maitreya, Yagya-valkya and his wife Maitreya. When he decided to retire, and he had two wives, he divided his wealth into two, between two wives. Then Maitreya said to him, but you're giving all this up, so why should I accept it? What good is it to me if it doesn't give me immortality? So then he gave her instructions, and one thing was said there is that if love is not there, what is the use of living? It's not worth living without love. So we can only be happy with love, because life is not worth living without love. And the other thing is, knowingly or unknowingly, everyone is looking for God. But it's very rare that someone comes to the realization to bring these two things together. Why they're together? Because Krishna is our ultimate object of love. He is the only one that can reciprocate with our love perfectly. So knowingly or unknowingly, everyone is looking for love. Knowingly and unknowingly, everyone is looking for God. Why? Because Krishna, the personal form of God, is our ultimate object of love. He is the only one that can reciprocate fully and perfectly with our love. Any other love will not satisfy us. So this realization, clarity of this realization, I really received from Satyananda's Babaji. And the one thing that I think is most prominent gift that I've received is that now I know who I am.
In a spiritual sense.
In a spiritual sense. When Sanatana Goswami met with Mahaprabhu and they had their dialogue, it started with Sanatana Goswami asking Mahaprabhu, Ke ami, kene amai, jareta putrai, ihanai jani, kemone hita hoi. Which means, who am I? It's the most basic metaphysical question of spiritual life. If you ask this question, your spiritual life has started. And why am I suffering the threefold miseries? And then if I don't know this, how can I get any real benefit in my life? So then Mahaprabhu answered, Jivera Svarupa Hoi Krishnera Nityadas. The eternal Svarup, eternal self, eternal constitutional position, form of the Jiva is that we are Krishnera Nityadas. We are eternally servants of Krishna. This is general. More specifically, in our Gaudia Vaishnava line, we conceive of ourselves to having the Siddha Deha, the Svarup of a Gopi in Vraj. So therefore, we aspire for Gopi Bhav. If you want to do Raganuga Bhakti and to do līlā-smaraṇa, you cannot do it without knowledge of your Siddha Deha, knowledge of your Svarup or your Manjari Svarup. And mercifully, I somehow got the mercy and got that knowledge of who I am. So, even though I'm far from having realized my Svarup fully, I haven't really realized it yet, but I have that initial knowledge. I know that I'm not this body. I am a spirit soul, and I'm a particular form of spirit soul. I'm a Manjari, maidservant of Srimati Radhika. And why be a Manjari of Radhika? Because Krishna is more pleased when we serve his devotee than if we serve him directly. And Srimati Radhika is his consort, his Shakti, his topmost devotee. So if we want to know how to love Krishna, we have to follow her, and we have to follow in her footsteps and the footsteps of her Gopi associates. Chaitanya Charitamrita again says, Gopi anugatya vina aishvarya gyane bhajileo naipai vrajendranandana. Without being in the anugatya, in the following of the gopis of Raj, and if we have Aishvarya Gyan, which means the opulence conception of God as Almighty, we cannot get Krishna in Vraj. We can easily go to Vaikuntha, which what Vaidhi Bhakti generally leads you to. But if you want Vraj Bhav, if you want to go to Vraj and meet Vrajendanandana Krishna, you have to follow the gopis. And this is the meaning of Das, Anudas, which Mahaprabhu, I don't know, I think Mahaprabhu coined this. So this is the gift, this is the most prominent thing that I've received. I have a long way to go. I mean, paradoxically, the more you advance in bhakti and the more you learn, and I've learned a lot in the past 3 years from Shastrik study from Satyanarayan Das Babaji, the more I realize how little I know and how insignificant my realizations are. Anyway, with whatever little I do know and whatever little I have learned and I've imbibed from these realized souls, I've tried to share today with you, and I hope this would also inspire other people to not only maintain their bhakti, but to go further and inquire into making progress in bhakti in whatever way they see fit.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your inspiring speech. And also, even though you're very humble, but you're a true example, and your life is a testimony of unwavering devotion, that you dedicated your life to gurus, diksha gurus, to Rādhā-kuṇḍa. That's amazing. Thank you so much for this incredible example and for sharing this story with us and your time with us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Welcome.
And thanks to Kirtidanandini who organized this all, and
thanks
to our helpers.
Kirtidanandini, whose idea was that, and got us together to do this interview. So thank you for your association. And let's go to Radha-kuṇḍa.
Yeah, Haribol.
Radhadesh Yam. Nitai Gaur Haribol. Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.